Shalom. First, giving all acknowledgement to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Double honors to my teachers, beginning with the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone. Um, just wanted to do a quick Mark of the Beast update. Um, Came across this article from the Wired.com or Wired.com, and it says vaccine makers turn to microchip tech to beat glass shortages. All right. It says we'll need millions of vials to distribute the vaccine. The U.S. government thinks manufacturing methods from the semiconductor industry can help. All right, so pretty much, um, as it says, these vaccine makers. Slack it. Let me turn this off real quick before anybody calls me. So pretty much these vaccine makers, the creators of these these different vaccines or whatnot. It seems like they're partnering up with microchip technology. All right, because this is a long article. I'm not going to get into all of it, but it's pretty much going into how there's a lot of shortages in supplies. All right, and there's one part of the article. Let me see if I can find it. There's one part of the article that talks about these different syringes, because there's information that already came out that these some of these or a lot of these syringes, they can um, some of them might have the RFID chip in them already, quote unquote, it's optional, but by now eventually it's going to be mandatory. But let me just touch on this real quick. See what I can start. Because like I said, it's pretty much this article is pretty much going into the shortages of the supplies needed to get these vaccines out. They're talking about distribution. Could be a problem with distribution. All right, and in the process as these vaccines are being shipped out, they talk about pretty much how these syringes and these the glass or the containers holding the vaccine, they can break. They're breakable. All right, so they're pretty much going into coming up with a solution, to get these vaccines out fast. All right, I'm gonna just read some of this. It says the challenge is not making the vaccine itself; it's filling vials. There just aren't enough vials in the world. Pascal Soriot, the executive director and CEO of AstraZeneca, told reporters in a press briefing last month. AstraZeneca is working with the University of Oxford on one of the front runners in the COVID-19 vaccine race, but it's just one of many pharmaceutical firms scrambling to source containers for that critical bottling step. Executives from A.G. Scott, one of the world's major medical glass producers, recently told the Wall Street Journal that the company has received requests from vaccine makers for 1 billion vials, double what it can produce this year. It says medical glass is strong, but it's still breakable. So manufacturers typically don't make lots of excess inventory. They make what pharmaceutical companies order, and pharmaceutical companies typically don't put in those orders until they know they've got a vaccine that works. Plus, distribution contracts in place to provide bulk doses to customers. But nothing about these times is typical. Governments and nonprofits are pumping money into ramping up vaccine manufacturing capacity in parallel with clinical testing so that individual companies don't have to assume so much risk for paying for trials and production themselves. They're also experimenting with nanotech technology borrowed from the semiconductor industry to make an end run around traditional forms of glass. So pretty much, you can see, all the conflict that comes with making all these vaccines and all these, syringes and containers to put them in. All right, so again, because from what I'm understanding, if I'm not wrong, it sounds like they could be, working on a solution to get these vaccines out quicker. Because again, matter of fact, reading on down, yeah, let me read this. It says, in the U.S., this concerted effort has been dubbed Operation Warp Speed. And if you don't know, Trump, when he talked about this Operation Warp Speed, it's pretty much, again, they're working on a plan to get these vaccines out as soon as possible. All right, because Trump talked about having, all these vaccines by the end of the year, all right, or by the end of the fall, or something along those lines, which is pretty much the same thing on just about. So again, they're putting all this all this money, they're spilling. Matter of fact, let me just read on. It says the U.S. government's Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, or BARDA, has so far invested approximately $2.2 billion in the COVID-19 vaccine makers, including Astra, blah, 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 jump on down. It says in partnership with the National Institutes of Health, these companies are planning to start phase 3 trials this summer. Their goal is to not have a long gap between the time they prove that a vaccine works and when they can start making it available to lots of people. It says avoiding a scenario in which an effective vaccine gets rationed to a chosen few also means overcoming a glass bottle shortage. The issue was on the U.S. government's radar early on in the pandemic, according to a 60-page whistleblower complaint filed by Rick Bright, the former director of BARDA, who was also abruptly ousted from his post in April. Reading on, it says, and then Bright claimed that between January and March, he repeatedly and unsuccessfully urged administration officials to secure supplies needed for a mass immunization campaign, including needles, syringes, and glass vials. All right, so again, due to the fact that they have a shortage of all these supplies and all these syringes and needles and things of that nature. Again, they're working on a quick plan to somehow get all these vaccines out, because again, now they're talking about there's a new strain of COVID-19 and it's more deadlier than what it was before. All right, so they're desperate to get this vaccine out. But what I'm hinting at, or what I'm getting at by reading this article, it sounds like they might, in order to effectively get this vaccine out, as quick as possible, without all this hassle, they might just say, the hell with the vaccine. They might go straight to the chip, because that's what the title says. It says, vaccine makers turn to microchip tech to beat glass shortages. All right. So again, that's just what I'm getting from reading this article. They might. They might just say the hell with the chip, or excuse me, they might just say the hell with the vaccines and start issuing out chips, right? But that's just, again, from my understanding, that's what it sounds like. I could be wrong. Let me see if there's anything else in this before I get the precepts. It says in June, BARDA finally signed contracts worth $347 million with two American vial makers. The first, New York-based Corning, has a long history of working with vaccine makers, as Pyrex glass was used to bottle the first polio vaccines in the 1950s. Jump down here. It says, but closing the glass gap will take time. Supply chain experts say that booting up a new manufacturing site capable of making an additional 100 to 500 million vials per year will take at least 6 to 8 months. That's if glass vial makers can get their hands on the raw materials to feed those production lines. Medical glass has to be able to withstand huge temperature swings and keep chemically finicky vaccine compounds stable. Making it requires melting down an especially angular species of sand found in beaches and riverbeds with grains jagged enough that they lock together to form a sturdy glass solid. This type of sand is in such high demand for use in everything from solar panels to concrete that is that it's sparked a violent boom in illegal sand mining in recent years. Blah, blah, blah. Whether or not vaccine makers will face a glass crunch will depend on how swiftly they actually come up with the vaccine. If we are talking about having the first working vaccine candidates early next year, then I don't think we need to worry about glass so much. It says Prashant Yadav, a healthcare supply chain researcher at the Center for Global Development. If, on the other hand, any of the leading vaccine candidates currently or about to go into phase 3 testing turn out to be blockbusters data, which is expected to arrive before the end of the year, then there could be a problem. We'll have no means of delivering it widely because we won't have the vials yet. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna read all of this, but again, just from my hypothesis, due to all the hassle and coming up with all these syringes and making the right glass vials and all this other stuff. It's possible that they could say the hell with the vaccine, and they just might move along with chipping people. Because one more time, going to the title, it says vaccine makers turn to microchip tech to beat glass shortages. So again, it makes sense. These vaccine, the creator of these vaccines, these vaccine makers, they're teaming up with microchip tech to provide a solution for all these shortages of syringes and needles and glass products and things along that nature. So again, it's very possible. You can go ahead and get the precept. It's very possible that they because it said in the article that they mentioned nanotechnology. All right, so again, that could very well be the mark of the beast. These chips, they might just go right to chipping people. But let me get this. Revelations 13, of course, and 16, it says, and he calls us all, both small and great. So again, because they're going to set up to where they're going to cause a lot of people to take, they're going to do something to cause everyone to get this chip, because by now we all know that this chip is the end game. All right, brothers are already doing videos. Matter of fact, I have the article dealing with this bill that requires employers to keep implanted microchips voluntary for workers. All right, so brothers are already jumping on this topic right now, because again, with the point being, because they're going to present this chip in a way, brothers are always talking about it, they're going to present this chip in a way where at first it's going to be voluntary. All right, it's going to be convenient for everyone. All right, Esau, he's going to get a lot of people to get this chip, to take this chip, ultimately, but again, they're going to present this chip in a way that's more convenient, and they could, like I said, just my my opinion, they can say the hell with the vaccine and just say, hey, look, you take this chip, you can you can cure all your diseases and things like that, and amongst other things, they can present this chip and say, this chip, it can cure cancer, it can cure AIDS. I've done videos before, people that are paralyzed, they're going to be able to walk again. People that are blind, they're going to be able to see again. So this is the things that he's pampering, preconditioning the society and accepting this chip. because again, the end goal is this chip. With this chip, it's the mark of the beast. Without a shadow of a doubt. So but going back to Revelations where it says he calls it, all right, because it says and he calls it all. So again, because Esau, he's going to do something to cause everyone, put everyone in the position into getting this chip. It's no big secret. Esau, he's crashing the society. The dollar is going to collapse. There's going to be a shortage of food. And again, with all these different diseases that are about to come out, again, you take that chip, hey, you take this chip, you could be cured from all these different diseases. And it makes sense, with this whole new strand of COVID-19 and the cases are spiking back up. All right. What better way to present this chip? Hey, this new strand of COVID-19. Hey, you take this chip. This chip. It's this. We found the answer. This is the vaccine. Take this chip, and pretty much you'll be accepted back into society because, again, with Esau, he's with the preditioning that he's doing to the people, like with this, this whole mask, wearing masks in public, everywhere you go, you got to wear a mask. Now they're putting it into law, right? Now it's mandated that you got to wear a mask, right? They're starting to crack down on that here in Florida, and now you got to wear a mask, or you can be denied service for not wearing a mask. It's the same thing with this chip. It's all being preconditioned. All right, you take that chip. Because again, reading on in verse 16 again, it says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So again, hey, you take that chip, man, and pretty much you'll be able to function in society. You take that chip. Of course, it's going to come with some form of validation that you took this chip, and then you'll be able to, because like I said with the mask, in certain a lot of places, they will refuse you service if you don't wear a mask, all right? You can't conduct business without wearing a mask. Well, it's going to be the same thing with the chip. It's going to be worse. With this chip, you're not going to be able to pretty much function in society. You're not going to be able to conduct business or do anything. All right. So, again, this is why, they're going to present this chip in a way that's convenient for everyone. All right. This chip, Esau, he's going to present it in a way that's going to pretty much solve all your problems. All right. So, again, dealing with this whole, this whole article that I came across, this is just my opinion that they could very well, just say the hell with the vaccine and just go straight to the chip. That's just my opinion on it. So, you just wait around to see what happens from, what happens from here. Because again, we know this is the end game. All right. And eventually, well, for the meantime, you're gonna start seeing them preconditioning people into accepting this chip. It's gonna be voluntary, but not long after that, it's gonna be mandatory. You're gonna have to take that chip. But we know certain men, certain of the elect, they're not gonna take that chip. All right. But that's all I had on this. Yahweh was edifying, and until next time, I say shalom. Giving all credit, of course, to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Double honors to my teachers and apostles of Great Millstone. Next time, shalom.